Hi, folks. This is Jerry B from Pride and Glory Travel. Hey, we got our Wild Hogs and Bikers cruise going out November 29th, where we're stopping at Nassau, Cook Bahamas, Coco Cay, and Falmouth, Jamaica. This is going to be one cruise to remember. Why? Because it's our Wild Hogs and Bikers cruise, where we have our own leather and lace karaoke contest. You guys come on. You don't have to be a biker to go. You don't need to wear leather and lace to be a part of the cruise. Just come have some fun with us this holiday season. Also, we have a great duo show going on called the Dooley Brothers Entertainment. That's me and my brother from Tomorrow's People. We're going to be rocking the house for you at a private concert just for you guys. We got a miniature golf tournament going on. So, folks, come join the fun. We got prices starting at $747 per person. That is just $747 per person for a 7-day beautiful cruise. Pick up the phone. Get the rooms booked. Call 920-265-8143. That's Jerry B. That's me. 920-265-8143. And come. We'll see you at sea, y'all. Hey there, folks. Here another episode of Respect the Talk. It's a beautiful day in Southwest Florida here. I tell you, man, what a beautiful day. Got my nephew in the house with us again today. Go figure. What's up, boo? How you doing, Brad?
What's going on, Uncle? What's going on?
It's
Got
the
a
same.
pretty here too in Michigan, so I'm not complaining.
Yeah, no, you can't complain. Life is good, man. We all blessed in some ways or the other, So it's all good, baby, baby. So hey, we got a great show coming up, though, man. Oh, by the way, what did you do this weekend, man? Anything good? Anything you want to tell us
Nothing,
about?
just kind of tweaked on the enclosure that I'm building for the incoming iguana. So that's it.
You and that damn iguana, man. I mean, I'm telling you, dude, you can come down here, come visit me, bro. Take one home with you. We got plenty running around the streets here.
I know it. I know.
Plenty.
But it'll cost me just as much to get down there and get back than it would just to have me worship.
Yeah, but you wouldn't get to see me or your other
Okay.
fam down here. Don't forget, you have other fam down here, So
Agreed.
hey, our producer's even down here. You the outcast right now.
I know it.
So yeah, bro, you can come down and visit us, man. We'd love to have you, seriously.
I tell you what, we get some of these folks that watch us or viewers to become Patreons and pay for me a trip. I'm in.
Pay for your trip, shit, man. These people trying to get money, Yeah,
I know.
There might be a Republican community down here, but they just as broke as a Democrat community. Shit, they just try to fake that shit out. Try not to complain because we voted for them. That's right. Yeah, we don't care how broke we are. We voted for them. Yep, I'm losing my house, but I don't care. I voted for them. Crazy motherfuckers. I'm sorry. Excuse my French. I'm sorry. Hey, you know what? Wait, folks, we got a great show coming your way. We're going to talk about some great things, but you know what? We just get back to what's going on, everybody. Welcome back to Respect the Talk. I'm Jerry. We're glad you're here. If this is your first time with us, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like this video, and share it with somebody who enjoys a good conversation, isn't afraid to hear different perspectives. And don't just sit there watching. Jump down in the comments, jump them down, jot them down, whatever you want to do in the comments and Respect the Talk and talk with us. I've always posted something on our Respect the Talk page, so clap back with me, have some fun with me. What do we got, James? Let's get talking about that today.
All right, today we got a lot planned. We're starting off with the Nolan Wells case. Yep, finally we're gonna jump in a little bit on that.
We talked about it.
Going back through what happened on Horn Island and looking at the timeline and the questions that are still out there. Then we're going into the boat tow call, the 911 call, Nolan's phone, and the video that's been a big part of the conversation all online. From there, we're going to switch gears up a little bit and talk about politics, religion, and whether someone's name or their faith is being used as part of a political argument. So we've got a lot to unpack, as always. So let's get into it.
Welcome to Respect the Talk with Jerry B.
Respect the talk. Respect the talk. Respect the talk.
Okay, folks, we're back again, and This is a story we got to see what's going on right now. This story where we're giving it at the beginning. All right, let's slow this whole thing down for a minute. And nephew, you can jump in here anytime you want. Please feel free. All right, let's slow this whole thing down because if you've been following the Nolan Wells case, you've probably seen 100 different versions of what happened. You've seen people online say it was an accident. Seen people say it was a murder. You've seen videos that supposedly show Nolan. You've seen people talking about the boat, the phone, the 911 call, and the autopsy. And at this point, there's so much information floating around that it's easy to forget what we actually knew at the beginning. So let's get back to the July 4th. Nolan Wells was 18 years old, good-looking young man, and he was on Horn Island in Mississippi with friends on the 4th of July. At some point, the group left the island, but Nolan didn't come back with them. At the initial explanation was that Nolan had decided to stay behind. According to the early accounts, Nolan wanted to spend more time on the island and possibly meet up with a girl he'd met there. Now, I'm not saying that explanation is true or false. I'm saying that the stories were we were initially giving, and that's important because when somebody disappears, the first story matters. Not because the first story is necessarily correct, but because every piece of evidence that comes later has to be compared against it. And here are already questions about the original timeline, because I know we're going to jump into like this here. There have been conflicting accounts about where Nolan actually intended to stay on the island. There's also the question of what happened when others left. Who knew Nolan was staying? Who actually saw him last? What exactly was said? And what time did all this happen? Those aren't small details, folks. Those are the details that establish a timeline. Then, 2 days later, Nolan's body was found on Horn Island. And now the situation changed completely. We're no longer talking about a missing teenager. We're talking about a young man who was found dead under circumstances that investigators still haven't publicly explained completely. And here's something to think about. We have to be very careful about. The fact that the circumstances are suspicious to people doesn't automatically mean murder. But the fact that authorities haven't established exactly what Nolan died doesn't automatically mean accident either. Those are two different things, and that's where this case gets complicated. But that's then because then you start looking at the physical evidence. The independent autopsy commissioned by Nolan's family did not establish a definitive cause or manner of death. It was classified as undetermined. That doesn't mean the pathologist said Nolan was murdered if it means there wasn't enough evidence available to make that determination. An official autopsy has also been completed, but the public still doesn't have the complete finding. So we're sitting here with a case where a young man went to an island on July 4th, didn't come home, and was found dead 2 days later. And the question is simple: what happened between the last time Nolan was seen alive and the moment his body was found? That's the timeline we need to reconstruct. And now we've got some new evidence that may help us do exactly that. Because one of the biggest pieces of the evidence is a phone call from the boat. And that's where things get really interesting. James, jump on in here. I know I had long winded there, a lot of stuff to talk about, just to lay some groundwork.
Exactly. There are, aside from the things that you mentioned, there are a lot of questions out there that are just unanswered. And first and foremost, we also have to start this by saying that as soon as the body was found, the sheriff came out and said that it was there zero time between the body being found and him making his public address saying that this was an accidental drowning. So there was no autopsy performed yet. There was no investigation performed, and the sheriff said, "Up, accidental drowning. Nothing to do, nothing to see here. Go ahead, go on about your business, folks." The family pushed because they want answers, and as a Black community, there are a lot of people who are very interested in this because you have to remember that this is Mississippi, home of the Emmett Till case. More recently, I mean, it was the backdrop for Mississippi Burning for all
Yep.
those people who have seen that movie.
Yep.
More recently, there have been at least three quote unexplained deaths that have happened against black individuals there, including a young lady on a college campus that was lynched, another young man who's found his body was found and ruled a suicide in the middle of a college campus, and a third individual I can't recall at this time, but there's been a lot of suspicious things that have just been covered up in Mississippi. Um, so as a black community, there's a lot of focus on this case because these are parents who
Right.
have actually pushed to want to know what's going on. They're not accepting the narrative of, oh, it was an accident, simply because um, the sheriff initially claimed that this was an accidental drowning from a young man who reportedly seemed like a fish.
Right.
So kind of hard to believe that he just drowned.
Yeah.
If you look at some of the right wing media that has their own bias, there's a lot of trying to, well, there was a lot of bias trying to portray this young man as an alcoholic or somebody who was extremely intoxicated. Yet his own coach, who spoke to him late in that or early in that morning of January 5th, said that there was no sign of alcohol at all in his speech. So that he can't believe that he was intoxicated, let alone intoxicated enough where he forgot how to swim.
Right. Yeah.
Um, so there's just a lot of questions there. Um, there's a missing phone that when the parents did a search for the phone online, it turned out that it was in the possession of some of his friends.
Right. One of his friends. Right.
In particular, a friend who had called the parents and said, "Hey, have you heard from him?" Well, how could they have heard from him if you had his phone?
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
So there's a lot there. There's a lot going on there in that case.
Right.
So, um, we're also going to get into the 911 call or the boat tow call.
Right.
And we've had individuals who have taken it upon themselves to independently enhance the background noise of um, this phone call, and there are questions that are brought up based on what was heard in the background there. So there is a lot there to unpack and talk about.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. For sure. You know, I've been trying to follow this case, and it's been very, very interesting. You know, because it's been more confusing than interesting because I was like, okay, wait a minute. I've been out on boats before on islands, private islands with a bunch of people, and even if I just don't get how all the boats, even the last boat, could leave and leave him on the water. I mean, that just makes no sense without him going to something. Even the last boat saying, "Hey, can I get a ride back with you?" Because everybody left me, and the last boat saying, "No, I'm not giving you a ride." I don't see that, and so that makes me suspicious of what's going on because that's what his friend said when he's going to stay behind with this girl. But a girl said no, he wasn't. The girl said he was going back with his friends, and that's where things got missed. Okay, well, where did he go then? From there. So if everybody left, even if she left and somebody else left, the kid wasn't a dumb kid. He was a very intelligent young man from listening to everything I've heard, that he would not just sit there and let all the boats leave the island and he'd be sitting there like an idiot. I just don't see that. So something
Yeah,
happened there that he wasn't able to ask another boat for a ride back to the mainland. I don't see the logic in that. But hey, let's talk about that boat call, the 911 call, and the digital trail. Listen to what was actually said. All right, this is where I went. I want everybody to put the theories to the side for a minute. Forget TikTok, forget Facebook, Forget what somebody's cousin, friends, uncle said happened. Listen, just let's listen to the evidence, because one of the most important things that come out of this release of audio from the boat is something is is very important. The boat that was carrying people away from Horn Island made a call because it was taking on water, and we now been able to hear that call. That matters because before this audio was released, we were relying heavily on people's recollections of what happened on the water. Now we have an actual recording, and whenever you get an actual recording, you have to ask some very basic questions. Who made the call? What time was it? Where exactly was the boat? How many people were on the board? What did the caller say was happening? And most importantly, where was Nolan at that exact moment? Because that's the question that could help establish the timeline. And I want to be careful here. The boat call does not by itself tell us what happened to Nolan. It doesn't prove that anybody hurt him. It doesn't prove that Nolan was on the island, and it doesn't prove that he was on the boat. What does it give? What it does is give investigators another timestamp. A timestamp, and timestamps are extremely important in cases like this. Now let's bring the 911 call into this, because the 911 call gives us another piece of the timeline. And here's where I'm interested. When people tell investigators what happened later, you can compare those statements against what they said when the situation was happening in real time. That's not about automatically accusing somebody of lying. People get scared, people get confused, people remember things differently. But there are significant differences between the first emergency call and later statement. Investigators need to understand why. The basic investigative work, then you got Nolan's phone. And this is another area where there's a lot of questions. There have been concerns raised by Nolan's family about information that may have been missing from the phone: messages, photos, other digital information. But 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 we've also heard denials from people connected to Nolan's trip that everybody deleted everything. So again, we have two competing claims, and this is where I don't want us to make this mistake that social media makes. Somebody says the phone was white, and 5 minutes later, somebody else is saying they deleted the evidence. Well, hold on. Do we exactly know that? That's a huge difference between missing information and information that somebody intentionally deleted. If investigators have forensic information from the phone, that's when we need. Now it's not somebody's interpretation. We need to know, when was the phone's last used? What was deleted? When was it deleted? Can deleted information be recovered? Where did the phone physically go? Who had it? What location information is available? What messages were sent? What calls were made? And what does the phone tell us about Nolan's final hours? Because if you can combine that information with the boat call, 911, witness statements, and videos, you can start building a much more reliable timeline. And that's what I'm interested in. Not the loudest theory, not the most emotional theory, the timeline. Because if timeline is wrong, the entire story can be wrong. If there's anything if there's another piece of evidence that goes a tremendous amount of attention, that video. And this brings us to the kind third party of this conversation, because that video has been used by people online as evidence that Nolan was involved in the confrontation. But when you actually start digging into the video, things aren't quite that simple. Let's take a listen to the call.
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our village pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership. What'd you say? Hey. It's coming up. It's. We're just sinking. I don't know. Like we're going down. I don't know the phone number. It's either I think it's try that.
All right.
I know we have a membership like guaranteed. I don't
All
have
right.
the tag
Unless
on
you
here.
have
It
a
got ripped
membership
off.
number or anything, it's okay. I'll get you over to the captain. What's the best phone number to reach you at?
Reach me at 2.
All right. And is everybody on board in good health otherwise?
Yeah, everybody's
How
on
many?
board.
All right. Do you need the United States Coast Guard?
What?
Do you need the United States Coast Guard?
No, we do not need that.
All right. All right. Do you have your current GPS coordinates?
Let me go look.
If not, I can send you a text message.
Whoever said fork in the road must have been hungry. Hungry for the Sorrento and the capability.
North. Are you ready?
Yes, sir. I'm available.
North 30 degrees by 4672.
All right. 4672. All right. And you were breaking up a little bit. Can you just repeat it one more time to make sure I have it correct?
Sorry, look.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, what?
So you're breaking up. If you need assistance, do you have a VHF radio?
No, we do not have the VHF radio.
All right. Well, let's try to get you going because you don't have good cell phone reception. Can you verify your coordinates one more time?
Okay, my coordinates are 30 degrees by 14.684 north, and then west by 88 degrees by 46.79.
Right. Looks like you're on Horn Island, correct? Are you
Yes,
on
we are
Horn
at Horn
Island?
Island. Yes.
All right. Is the boat sinking or you have it aground?
We are sinking, yes.
Is it aground is the question?
No, we're not aground. We are in
Okay.
17 foot of water. We're in 31 foot of water.
All right. Have to ask. What do you want to do? Do you want to be towed back?
I want to get this boat unsank and towed back, yes.
All right. Where would you like it towed to, sir?
You can tow it to Ocean Springs Harbor, or Fort Bayou Launch.
All right. How many adults and children on board?
No, there's no children.
So is there anybody on board? How many adults, sir? That was the question. Hello, can you hear me?
Try to jump in and pull the plug while you're going.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Yep, I just need you to answer these questions so I can get you over to the captain.
Okay.
How many
what's
adults
going
on board?
There's 0 adults on board.
There's nobody on board the boat?
No. Nobody
right.
here is over the age of 21.
Sir, that was not the question. Is there a person? Is there a person, a living individual on the boat?
Hello?
Is there a living person, someone breathing on the boat? Is there anybody on the boat?
Yes, there's lots of people breathing on the boat.
All right, how many people, sir?
Like 7.
All right, thank you. Does everyone have life jackets on or available to them?
Yes, we have life jackets available.
All right, verify what boat's sinking.
A Triton, 22-foot offshore, 22-foot Triton offshore sea flight hull.
All right. All right. Please hold. I'm transferring you to the local captain now.
Okay, thank you.
This is Captain Seth.
Hi, Captain Seth. This is Vicky from International. How you doing today?
Doing good. How are you?
Good, good. I apologize ahead of time. I really do. You're going to have a fee-for-service come up under...
Okay.
It sounds like a bunch of kids on board on Horn Island. He's letting me know that his father's a member, but he can't give me any information. And he's saying the boat is sinking. and he's on Horn Island. It's just unfortunate. He's just a kid. There's a lot going on. So
Right.
he said there's about a lot of people on board. He says he thinks about 7. I'm guessing they're all under 18.
Okay.
And I'm not trying to be rude. He wants you guys to go out there and unpump the boat and then tow it in.
Do you know what kind of boat it is?
He said a Triton 24-footer, but that's all he can give me.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I just actually got off the phone with his grandpa, who I'm guessing is the owner of the boat. And he said,
Okay.
I just hung up with him. He said that they don't need any help right now, but if something changes, he'll call me back. So
Right.
I'm guessing that they may have figured it out, because that's what he said. So they're in a panic and their boat won't crank.
Yeah, they're in a panic. He's saying the bilge is not keeping up. I asked for Coast Guard. He said no, but he's just really upset on the back end. And, I get it. It's a kid. He just doesn't understand.
Oh, okay. Do you still have him on the line?
Yes, I still have him on the line. And, again, I couldn't find he couldn't give me anything regarding his grandfather's, membership, so it's just under fee for service.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I just talked to. If you want to, we're so tied up right now. We can't really do any non-member jobs right now.
Is he a member? Did you find out if he was a member or not?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's his boat or what. I'm not sure what's going on with it. But yeah, transfer the kid over. I'll talk to him, and then I'll call his grandpa back as well.
All right. And did you want me to look up membership number or anything like that to see if he's up? I know you guys are
You can
swamped.
try this cell phone number.
Yes, sir.
Anything on this phone number?
All right. Yep. He's an active member. Hold on.
What kind of boat do you have on there? Same boat?
Yeah, he's one of your members. Yep, 22-foot Triton. All right. I'll just disregard this one. I'm going to send you over an accurate one under this one, okay? He's one of your members. You'll get in a couple minutes, okay?
Okay, perfect. All right. And, just transfer this kid over whenever you get a chance.
All right, transferring now. Thank you again, Captain.
All right.
Stay safe out there. It's crazy. Have a drink.
Oh, it's wild.
All right, thank you.
Okay, that's it there, So hey, it's pretty long, but I didn't get a whole lot out of that. I don't know if somebody else was reading between the lines and got something out of that. Did you, James?
The only thing I got out of it is that there was a lot going on the boat that even kept this young man distracted. Now, the other question that it brought up to me now, and keep in mind, being that distracted as a teenager and us not knowing the teenager could or may or may not mean that he was actually intoxicated. He had the wherewithal to call, but he was also extremely distracted to the point where simple questions didn't register. So, but then again, who knows? He may just not have been bright enough to understand when she asked how many people were on the boat. But at the same time, how did the grandfather, or according to the captain that she spoke to, how did the grandfather also know what was going on at who and he's the same grandfather of the young man who called. Normally, if I called home and said, "Hey, I think we're taking on water here. What do you want me to do?" That would be the line of question that I had. My dad or grandfather, whoever had this membership to this tow company, would have said, "I'll make some calls, or you call, and because you got to give them your heading."
Right.
So that's questionable here. That's a question to be asking. why the why the need for grandpa to call as well as them to call? Is there something else that went on in the background that you was more than your realm of abilities to handle, and so you're calling home looking for help? Um,
Yeah.
and let's also keep in mind that this young man in particular that made the phone call comes from a rather affluent family down there.
Right.
Uh, so there's some questions that open up there, but no real answer, I don't think.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, who knows? I mean, like I said, I've been trying to follow a little bit of the story, and like I said, nobody really knows what's going on, and um, it's just a big story with a lot to talk about, I guess. And I don't know if we're making a whole show about this situation. It seems like that's what the show is all about, you know. And I like I said, I don't have a lot of um, I don't have a lot of knowledge about this, to talk too much about it, because I haven't been following it that close. I follow it a little bit, but not where I'm watching it every day to see what's happening with this kid Nolan. I mean,
Yeah,
you got this one guy, the Luigi whatever, keep doing this perp walk down, or what's his name, because of he killed that president of the insurance company, and they got 40 people around him just marching him to court to keep showing that stupid ass thing. But so I've been following all kind of different stories. But if you want to continue this conversation, James, go ahead. I mean, if there's something else you might want to talk about in there. 'Cause-
I I had invited uh Kiki to join us because he's somebody who has been following us it with a great deal of intensity. Um, but she's also babysitting the our grandkids, so I don't know if that's why she wasn't able to jump in. Um,
Or maybe we should save the rest of this conversation to the next show, the rest of this, and have where she can jump in and be a part of it then. And we won't have the producer kick her out like he did, thinking that she was you twice. I'm just teasing, but not trying to throw him under the bus or anything like that. But
you see
yeah,
that big yellow thing go past him, he knows what it is.
yeah, exactly, yeah. So yeah, hey, you know what we can do right now? Though we can take a real quick break here and come right back at it with another kind of topic, and see, anyway, we'll be right back, folks. Stick around. We'll be back at you in two. Be back. Hi, folks. This is Jerry B from Pride and Joy Travel. Hey, we got our Wild Hogs and Bikers cruise going out November 29th, where we're stopping at Nassau, Coast Bahamas, Coco Cay, and Falmouth, Jamaica. This is going to be one cruise to remember. Why? Because it's our Wild Hogs and Bikers cruise, where we have our own leather and lace karaoke contest. You guys come on. You don't have to be a biker to go. You don't need to wear leather and lace to be a part of the crew. Just come have some fun with us this holiday season. Also, we have a great duo show going on called the Dooley Brothers Entertainment. That's me and my brother from Tomorrow's People. We're going to be rocking the house for you at a private concert just for you guys. We got a miniature golf tournament going on. So, folks, come join the fun. We got prices starting at $747 per person. That is just $747 per person for a 7-day beautiful cruise. Pick up the phone. Get your rooms booked. Call 920-265-8143. That's Jerry B. That's me. 920-265-8143. And come. We'll see you at sea, y'all. Hey, we're back again, folks, with another great topic here. We're going to try to do something different here. We're going to come back to that same story next week. And we're going to have a special guest, Kiki, on with us, I hope. See if she wants to join in, because she's been following this story, that last topic story, for I don't know how long. And I'd like to get her opinion on what's going on. And maybe we'll know more answers, too, by then. It's always nice to know that. But other than that, let's talk about something like every now and then here on Respect the Talk. This is what I wanted to talk to my nephew about, because I kind of spoke with you about this nephew a little bit ago. And I asked you if you read my post on Facebook, because every now and then I talk to my nephew about his faith. And I got to skip my screen. There we go. and about his Muslim faith. And I bring that up because I think we need to have a real conversation about something I keep seeing in politics, because this really burns my you know what. I watch these Republicans again, even Tim Scott talk about Abdullah ICE, and I hear them emphasize his full name, and especially the fact that it includes Muhammad. And I'm sitting there thinking, why? If you disagree with the man, talk about his policies, talk about what he believes, talk about what he wants to do, talk about where you think he's wrong. But why does his name or his religion to become part of a political attack? Because to me, that starts to feel we're trying to create an image of somebody in people's minds before we even talk about where they actually stand for. And we've seen this kind of politics before. Remember the way Barack Obama's name and the background became political talking points. His name, his middle name, his father's background, and all of it got dragged into political conversation that had very little to do with the actual policies being debated. And I don't like that. I don't care if you're Republican, Democrat, Independent, Conservative, Liberal. I don't like that tactic. If you disagree with somebody, disagree with them. That's politics. But when you start emphasizing somebody's name, their religion, their ethnicity, or where their family came from in a way that seems designed to make people suspicious of them, I think we need to stop and ask ourselves, what are we really debating here? Because let's put this out there right here, right now, loud and clear. There is nothing wrong with being a Muslim. Absolutely nothing wrong with being a Muslim. Nothing. There are bad people in all faiths. There are people who have done terrible things while claiming to represent Christianity. There have been Catholic priests convicted for sexually assaulting children. There have been televangelists like Jim Baker who went to federal prison after being convicted of fraud and conspiracy involving his ministry. So let's be consistent. We don't judge every Christian because of the actions of one Christian. But why should we? And we shouldn't judge every Catholic because of the actions of one Catholic. We shouldn't judge every Muslim because of the actions of one Muslim. Judge people by what they actually do. That's the point, folks. There are no perfect leaders. There are no perfect people. And if somebody's faith matters to them, that's their business. What matters to me is what they do with the faith and how they treat other people. So please stop bashing other faiths that you know nothing about except for what you hear on television or social media. That's not fact. That's somebody giving you a narrative and hoping you don't stop long enough to question it. Wake up, get your head out of the fog, and before you decide you don't like somebody because of their name, their religion, or where their family came from, listen to what they're actually saying. Because we can disagree on politics, we can argue about policies, we can have completely different visions for this company, but let's leave people's faith and identity out of the fight when it has nothing to do with the issues. Stop the madness, folks. Stop the madness. And the reason I bring that up because my nephew here, James, he's with us. He's a Muslim and he's a proud Muslim. And you know, I don't see anything wrong with that. And I see all these people on TV trying to bash. Now, I see whatever his name is, I can't pronounce it. I don't like a lot of his policies, okay? But that's his policies. That has nothing to do with his Muslim faith. He never said that my Muslim faith says I'm going to hate America. He never said that. He says what he wants for America is Medicare for all. I don't see nothing wrong with that. You know, when they start talking about abolishing the prisons, then I got something wrong with that because I think they're cuckoo in the head. But, you know, we're talking about policies, not faith. And that's why I want to bring you into this, James, because of how proud you are about your Muslim faith that you do talk about, and you're not ashamed to say I'm a Muslim, you know, which you shouldn't be.
No, no, absolutely not. And I agree. But here's what's really going on. So that people, I hope people will open their eyes enough to see through the sham that this is. The right wing, in general,
Yeah,
particular, this administration, this president, and a lot of his, basically state media, the places like Newsmax, News Nation, and to some degree Fox News as well. Some of those other, they're making a big deal about his faith because they need an enemy. They need an enemy. It's a age old tactic um, used by almost every um, major group there is. The Romans demonized um, the Roman Empire demonized the uh, what's their counterpart?
My God, I can't think right now.
Yeah, my mind just went blank.
Yeah, I'm having a brain fog too. Trying to move at the same time, but anyway, I know what you're talking about, though.
But the Nazi demonized the Jews. You know, Americans demonized the Indians, and then the Chinese, and then the Irish, and then the blacks, and then so that's an age old tactic.
Right.
Trump demonized the Muslim population, and to the point where his first order during his first term was to ban all Muslims.
Right,
So
I remember that. Yeah,
it was all about creating an enemy, so that people
he has
would
something
feel
to fight against.
yeah, people would feel that they had a common enemy,
Right.
and in this case, if it's not apparent to the average person yet, it should be, because we also had just recently, and I believe it was in Tennessee, a Republican politician wanted to give a moment of silence for a fallen police officer who died in the line of duty. And he actually died in the line of duty. I believe it was trying to save someone.
Right.
He mentioned his name, and a large swath of the crowd booed, only hearing his name, having no idea who he was. And it was because he had a Muslim name. And it kind of shows you what this president and his administration is attempting to do. They want to paint all Muslims with a bad brush, because this person has the ability to galvanize, and it was a tough race here in Michigan for this role. But the fact that it was a tough race, and that it wasn't all Democrats that voted for him, there were some Republicans that voted for him.
Right. Yeah.
Writings on the wall. There's a necessity for, if they want to stay in power here in Michigan, there was a necessity to create this guy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think, the reason he stays in power and people follow him is because they trying to find that enemy to follow, and like you said before, with the Indians, then it was the blacks and all the Chinamen. For some weird reason, portions of America got to have somebody to hate. And that's why when people ask me about being proud of America, I said I'm proud to be an American, but not proud of America, because the hate has not left this country. This country lives on hating something, or someone. It has to. It won't survive without having that enemy, and Trump found a way to unleash that with people to help them find that enemy within Haitians, within the Mexicans, and then what started with the Muslims. He started with Barack Obama and his Muslim faith and everything, and so and people started hating all of a sudden. I mean, which they already hated. It just brought it to forefront, and it just bothered the heck out. It just bothers me because then for people to say, well, America's not a racist country, the hell of it isn't. This country is very racist. I don't care what anybody say. This country is very racist. Now, there's a difference. There's a lot of people in this country that are not racist, but this is a racist country. And two things can be true at the same time. And that's what I'm talking about.
And here's the important part to remember about that term, racist. Everyone has their own prejudice.
Oh, they do, absolutely.
And the difference between having a prejudice and being racist is the ability and or the attempt to use your prejudice to affect the well-being of someone else.
Right.
For example, the average person may have the prejudice that and bear in mind that this has been media driven for the last 250 years.
Right.
The media will have you believe that all Black people are innately criminal and violent.
Right. And drug dealership.
Yeah. So that has been pushed on to people for so long that prejudice is within everybody.
Right.
I mean, even some of us Black folks will look at the next person walking down the street and based on the way he's dressed, assume that he's a gangbanger, a thug, violent, what have you. So that is a prejudice.
Right.
A racist will use that and turn around and say, hey, there's some little girl here, she doesn't have a license and she's selling water. Or hey, there's some guy here in the park and he's attacking me and my dog, even though the person's not doing anything, but sitting there walking himself.
Right.
So that's the difference between having a prejudice and being a racist, making the attempt to use your ability, your power in order to affect the well-being of another person.
Right.
And it may not be something as extreme as calling the police or lynching somebody or dragging them down. Like we mentioned recently, dragging them behind a truck through the streets of a Texas town.
Right.
But it could be something as simple as using your words to try to make a person feel bad or to initiate conflict or agitate a person.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
These are the actions of someone who's racist.
Right. Yeah, I think I posted something on our Respect the Talk show or shared it to it, and I think you responded to it because I had a friend of mine tell me one time, this was a while ago, that they won't vote for anybody that they can't pronounce their last name. And they don't want a doctor waiting on them that they can't pronounce their last name. And I just looked at them and I'm like, what the hell is that all about? Because most of the Indian doctors are more skilled than the white doctors here. So I mean, what are you talking about? I don't I just want to get good care. I don't care what their name sounds like. And to me, I said, that's prejudice right there, borderline racist. And I said that in my post. That is so prejudiced, but it's borderline racist. Because for you to even make a statement like that and blatantly say that to other people, like it just so flippantly, it's like, it makes me wonder about your character now. And because now, and for you to be a friend of mine, and the person was white, and for you to be a friend of mine and say something like that, then it makes me start wondering, what are you saying about me when the doors are closed?
That was going to be my thought behind that exactly. What are you saying about me? Yeah. Because in that case, that's not just a prejudice, borderline racist. That's a racist.
Yeah.
Simply because he is using his own personal prejudice, and if he's willing to voice it like that, he's using his own personal prejudice to try to affect somebody else's ability to do the job.
Right. Yeah,
Because
exactly.
if
You
he
know, it's
can
like,
put that view onto somebody else, then that next person may go into a hospital and have create a scene because the doctor comes in with the last name of Patel.
right. Well, you know, that's just like in the same, not in the same sentence of same day, or but sometime also in the course of that time we spent some time together. We're talking about something, and she said, "Well, I don't want to go over there. Them dot heads on that." But they were talking about the 7-Elevens, and I'm like, "Dot heads? What do you mean dot heads? That is so rude." And so again, it made me start thinking, "What are you saying about me when I'm not around? If you're talking about dot heads or you're not going to vote for anybody or you don't want nobody waiting on you because you can't pronounce their name, I can imagine with all those prejudices or racisms you're saying about me, because you cannot just have that about those two groups of people. It just don't work that way. So what is it? What are you saying? So again, everything started anyway, long story short, but I just didn't, it just made me concerned about my friendship with that person at that time. I'm like, yeah, okay. I mean, yeah, all right, sure. Whatever you say in public.
And the flip side to that, um, this 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 country has become so comfortable once again with espousing prejudices and racist views that we need to call people out on that.
Oh, yeah.
We need to, because the best way to correct negative hate behavior is with confrontation. So as a country, we should want to move away from racist and prejudice, just so that we are better people,
Yeah.
more human, showing more empathy.
You would think that's the way we would go, but that's what brought Trump to light. Because here's the deal: the same person I'm talking about voted for Trump, and I got into major arguments with them because I would say he's a racist. I'm like, well, and then they'd be like, he's not a racist. I'm like, that's because you're a racist, and two racists aren't going to see that you guys are racist. That just don't work that way. That's only because you are a racist yourself, and you're the same person that called these people dot heads and don't want nobody waiting on you because they're Mexican or you can't pronounce their name or you won't vote for them. So you're just as racist as him. So no, you're not going to see his racism because you're just as racist.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Period. Full stop.
Exactly.
And I hate to, bring that up, but I've heard this was happening last week, and they got into this. I see it, whatever in Minnesota running for this, governor or whatever, senate or whatever he's running for, and it just irritated me because right away they start that Muslim crap again, and then Tim Scott, started talking about, he was on TV Sunday talking about it, and he actually used his middle name. And the guy asked him, "Why are you using his middle name? What does his middle name have to do with anything? Why do you have to bring up Muhammad? Why? Because that's a negative tonation when you say that, and you're trying to get people's goat when you do that. So that says a lot about you, Mr. Tim Scott. That's why a lot of the black people are calling you Uncle Tom, because you're just as black as anybody else out here. You've been through racism, and for you to share that type of prejudice or racism on other people, I think it's totally wrong, Mr. Tim Scott. You need to be checked. Period.
100%. And I mean, another issue or another situation that took place right here in Michigan. You had a young black man running who was formerly Muslim, and converted to Christianity. He makes no claims of being a Muslim. However, he still has a Muslim name. He was born a Muslim. He still has a Muslim name, never changed his name. He was running for office here in Michigan, and his opponent had bowed out of the race. He had actually said, "I'm out. I can't win. I'm endorsing this other individual." You know who won the race? The gentleman who bowed out, because his name was Tim Johnson or something like that. It was obvious that it was a Arabic sounding name versus a white Anglo-Saxon sounding name. And the Anglo-Saxon wasn't even in the race. People still voted him and he won.
Yeah. Wow.
That if that doesn't scream that racism it exists, I don't know what does. What doesn't?
Yeah. I'm telling you. Well, you know, that just as like I said, is Abdul Asir Saeed. That's his name. He was born a U.S. citizen. He has never been anywhere. That's just his parents are Muslim, but that doesn't make him a Muslim. But just because he carried a Muslim faith does not make him a bad person. You know, that's what they. It's no different than you having a kid and naming him James Burton. You know, what does that mean? I mean, you know, that's, oh my God, it drives me nuts, man. You know, this whole conversation drives me nuts. And
James Burton, and he's extremely happy to be with James Burton, and I'm proud of the kid. So, there you go.
Yeah, I know.
He's proud of his name, but not proud enough to carry on that tradition. So
Well,
yeah,
you know, hey, that's my dad's name, you know. So your great grandfathers or whatever the hell that is, how that goes back, you know. So name, you know, so I'm proud of that name. But you know, I like I said, I hate the racism. I hate to see this country go down there, and then this country sits there and say we're not a racist country. I beg to differ. Anyway, folks, you know, it's been a blast talking to you guys here today. Did you have fun today, Jim?
Always.
Yeah, great. Well, like I said, we'll stop back. Hopefully, check with Kiki, see if she want to drop in on the next week's conversation.
Okay.
You know, I would love to have her in here. You guys. So, other than that, folks, you guys take care. God bless you. Have a safe, blessed rest of your week. Enjoy your evening. This is Jerry B. James
And
Boom,
James.
hanging out in the house. Take care, guys. God bless. Good night.
Love y'all.
Welcome to Respect the Talk with Jerry B.
Respect